I want to get to that in a second because I have some quotes from that plan, especially as they regard to Russia. But do you think that Steve Witkoff then is the person for this job? Because, like you said, he was working on that peace plan that was deemed Russia's wish list. Do you think that he has, he's the best person to be negotiating this?
I've never met him personally. He seems to be a guy who loves our country. He seems to know something about business. I can barely spell business. I ran a lemonade stand as a kid. But, I'm of an old-fashioned view that experience matters. And let me be more precise, relevant experience matters. And, I'm sorry, the kind of business that he's engaged in is not the same thing as high-level diplomacy where you have tens of thousands or millions of lives at stake. These are two different things. Is there some overlap? Maybe. Have we had experienced professionals in American history absolutely botch things? Yes. But that doesn't mean you forever throw out a valuing of relevant expertise. So where I see Witkoff traveling and around the globe, globetrotting, if you will, I see good effort and I see a lot of rookie mistakes, like, for example, relying on Russian interpreters. Step number one, when you're meeting with the Kremlin officials, don't rely on the Russian interpreters. Those are little things that, you kind of learn in diplomacy 101 class. And unfortunately, we're still learning some of those things.
And to that point, those types of things compared with that peace plan, also paired with this national security plan, do you think that the Trump administration is getting fleeced by Russia at all when it comes to this process in trying to negotiate for a ceasefire?
I think that there has been, as I try to be as fair and accurate and as objective as I can, as I call balls and strikes, regardless of who's pitching and who's sitting in the White House. I think there's been a learning curve in the Trump White House. We all will remember when Zelensky came to the Oval Office and basically got ambushed both by the president and the vice president. And it almost made him look like the villain. We were really kind of blaming the victim. I mean, that was a classic case of international relations blaming the victim. This guy's suffering from a brutal war of conquest brought on him through no fault of their own. Ukraine was not a threat to Russia. I'm sorry, don't listen to Tucker Carlson on that. He's wrong. And we're going to blame him and attack him like he's the problem. And so I think the more that we've confused the invader and the invaded, and the more we've suggested false moral equivalence here, the more we've given gifts to Vladimir Putin and told him that that he can just wait America out. And there's been, in addition to problematic statements coming from President Trump at times, although we've seen some improvement on that front, and problematic statements from Secretary Hegseth, we've seen problematic actions. Evidence, here's two. There's something called the Baltic Security Initiative, where we provide modest amounts of money, roughly $200 million per year, to help Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia build up their militaries. Not because we're nice guys and gals, but because we want them to carry more of the security burden. It's a modest investment, not charity, that serves national security interests. This administration wants to cut that. And we have bipartisan members of Congress saying that's a mistake. And then we had this brigade combat team, this 101st Airborne Division brigade combat team in Romania. The administration decided to rotate it out and not replace it, reducing U.S. military posture in Eastern Europe. So how do we think, just kind of common sense, how do we think Vladimir Putin's going to read that? He's going to read that as America is not as committed as it once was to European security. It's looking for the exits. That's a green light for additional aggression. And what have we seen since then? Yes, correlation is not causation. I get it. We've seen increasing violations of NATO airspace with both fighters and drones. And so, some of this is kind of what you'd predict if you keep saying this is less important, we want to go somewhere else.
And how